Welcome. I'm Richard Hosnow. I'm the founder and head coach of Innovate to Grow Experts, a leading front-end innovation consultancy. This is a training video that I absolutely loved putting together, and I'm feeling just lucky to be able to share this with you because I know how important it can be to each of us. This is 10 ways of becoming personally much more creative. Most of the stuff that I talk about in creativity is about how you get greater creativity out of a group. But this is how do you get more creativity out of you in whatever situation you're in. Yeah, it can be a business context, but it can be a life context. It doesn't matter. This is whenever and wherever for whatever need you need ideas. These are my top 10 suggestions about how to do that. Now, I've put together a lot of uh, personal creativity podcasts on the Innovation Best Practices podcast, and I've taken from them the top 10 ways that I think you can become more personally creative. So this is going to be the top 10 countdown. Okay, we're going to start with number 10 and work our way to number 1. So let's get going. Number 10, discipline. Now, you may think, Richard, are you crazy? Discipline is important for personal creativity. You bet it is. You bet it is. As the little round circle there says, discipline is freedom. What I'm really talking about here is freedom within a structure that optimizes creativity. Have a purpose when starting. Broad is better than narrow when you have a purpose. Identify elements and conditions that work best for you, like some of the other top 10 items you're going to find here. In the Quantum Idea Generation 2.0, this is a beautiful balance between discipline and structure and freedom. There is a process. We share an objective for a creative exercise. We share stimulus. We challenge people then individually and in pairs and everything to create ideas. Well, within that structure, people have absolute freedom to go anywhere and everywhere, and they do. And you may remember in the quantum idea generating training session that I talked about the importance of wild and wacky ideas. And that's what happens within a structure and a discipline that forms, if you will, the skeleton of quantum idea generation. And then within that, a lot of fun and a lot of creativity happens. So just, no purpose, no guidelines, nothing is not necessarily the best place to go. In fact, in the vast majority of cases, it's not going to get you close to what you really need. So consider discipline. Number 10. Number 9, openness to risk and change. If you have a fear of risk, like any other fear, it's going to stifle creativity. No risk to open. You got to go from no risk to open to risk. You can always change your mind. Being open to risk in a creative session and in your own personal creativity, there's no risk in that. If you end up with ideas that scare you, let them go. Now, in a creative session, we often have people take a rather extensive assessment, primarily for left and right brain, as I've talked about earlier. But in this more extensive assessment that we have people take, we learn about what kind of change they are most comfortable with. And it's a telling question. I have found very universally that people who have a very strong preference for step-by-step change, by that I mean take a small step, see how it goes, learn, consider, okay, I'm ready for a second step. Leaping change. These are people who are comfortable taking a big step forward, going into completely new space, completely new forms. And that's the kind of change that they're comfortable with. Well, if you're into leaping change, then you're okay when it comes to this. But if you find yourself as a person who's in their life really only comfortable with step by step, take a look and see, for just this one time when I'm personally creating ideas, can I open myself up to really fantastic ideas that normally I might not be comfortable with? Again, there's no risk to doing that. There's no risk in the ideas. It doesn't cost you a penny, doesn't commit you to anything. Just see what kinds of ideas that you get. So openness to risk and change is something that can really impact your personal creativity, productivity. Number 8, challenge. This is important. You need to be able to challenge conventional wisdom and assumptions and keep creative, which if you don't, it's these kinds of things that keep creativity locked in a very small box. You're not going to get out of the box ideas unless you challenge conventional wisdom and assumptions. So always consider possibilities that change the rules of how a business is looked at. This is actually a creative exercise that we will occasionally do. We'll identify the rules in a particular category. Everybody needs to offer this kind of benefit. Everybody needs to offer the product in this kind of package, on and on. No. Let's kind of sit back. Who wrote those rules? Rules are there to be broken when it comes to innovation, at least for considering things. Find a way to help yourself see conventional wisdom differently. Previous small, inconsequential details may be innovation drivers. You've listened to, or should listen to, the podcast on my interview with Carrie McNamara on what she did on the Gatorade project that led to the biggest innovation breakthrough in over a decade with the G3 series. That's exactly what she did. You heard in that podcast that she had an observation about something, and when she first started talking it with the marketing and research people, they said, "Oh yeah, we've known that for a long time." They say that year after year after year. Well, she saw it in a very different light. And what it did was identify that there are 3 major occasions for where people use Gatorade. And when they tailored products to those 3 different occasions, instead of one product for all, it resulted in a big breakthrough idea. So, challenge assumptions. Next, connect the dots. Steve Jobs was a big believer in big ideas coming from connecting multiple elements that might not be big ideas on their own, but become big ideas when you connect them. Have the ability to what I call unleash the power of and. We could do this and this. When I'm working with creative groups, and sometimes you'll get people at a table that say, "I think this is the right idea," and another 2 saying, "No, I think this is the right idea." And I'll step in and say, "Is this an opportunity to unlock the power of and? What if we did this and this?" And so many times, it's like light bulbs going off. Well, of course, we could do both. Combinations are powerful, okay? So when you have individual ideas, step back and see if some of these ideas can be connected in ways that create a far bigger idea. A lot of fun with this. Next, imagine and fantasize. Imagine, what if? Great question to ask in innovation. What if we could? And you kind of complete the sentence. And then go and find out what the answers are. Flow to spontaneous ideas that pop into your mind. That's imagining and fantasizing. Go beyond the realm of the usual and the expected. Okay? Leap out there. Imagine. Use your imagination. Don't be constrained. You can always reel it back in if that's the right thing to do. But go out there. You never quite know what you're going to find. Now remember my story that I just reiterated a little bit here about wild and wacky ideas. Wild and wacky ideas are often fantasies and imagined possibilities. And they're often great starting points for ideas that have great practicality. So stepping out on that board to imagine and fantasize, you can always walk it back a little bit to make it real and feasible. So enjoy imagining and fantasizing. Boy, this is number 5 is is quite a change in energy, isn't it? From that to solitude and contemplation. From quiet, big ideas emerge. I'm a person who meditates about 2 hours every day of my life. I'm a person who is fond of asking questions of the universe. And then overnight, I do this many times when I go to bed. I need an idea or a solution about. I kind of put it in my mind and then I go to sleep. And about 2:30, 3 a.m. in the morning, I'll wake up with the answer. And I'll get up and come down to my office and turn the computer back on again, wake it up and write it all down. Solitude cuts out the distractions of your energy. You can be very focused. Have a quiet conversation with yourself. How could I? What if? Okay? Out of quiet comes focus, comes the ability to hear ideas that come into your consciousness. Solitude and contemplation, number 5. Number 4, play with possibilities. Boy, there's 2 big operative words there. Play and possibilities. If you want to have a lot of good big ideas, create an environment of play and fun. Let it be easy. Sometimes we think of creativity, my goodness, it's so tough, it's so challenging. It can be if you let it be, but what if you just let it be easy? Laughter and positive energy all help. At the heart of this is all about positive energy and playing, truly play with possibilities. Oh, and we could do this. Oh, yeah, and we could do that too. Boy, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? Yeah, that's okay. Let's see where it goes. Okay, play with possibilities. Next is engaged, energized, and inspired. This is all about energy, being there, being present, and having a quality of positive energy, which is what inspiration is all about. Creativity requires using the most powerful parts of your brain. Okay? So to do that, you need to bring energy to that. You need to know your body and what it requires to work with high energy. I'm a morning person. Carrie McNamara is a night person. Well, I absolutely do my best work in the AM hours into the early afternoon. In fact, this presentation was put together in the early morning hours and is now being recorded just after my lunch. And I'm energized and excited to be able to do this presentation and share it with you. So the last one is be excited, be inspired, power big ideas. Okay, it really does. Okay, number 2 in our countdown, stimulus. Discover how others have solved a similar challenge. This is one of the most powerful forms of stimulus that I look at. I can't be the first one trying to solve this problem. I want how others have. You look around the United States and see what happens. Then you look around the world and you go, boy, I didn't think of that. Boy, that's a good starting point for the next kind of level of change and improvement. Let stimulus suggest new solutions to you. You can get stimulus from a personal standpoint. I go exploring the websites, looking at products on Amazon. What, they do that? That's the kind of product that does it. Woo, never thought of that. Reading the right kinds of books, all of that can be, when I read things and everything, it's kind of like I've got a highlighter next to me, I've got a notepad next to me, and I'm writing down notes and taking things and going, boy, that makes me think of, and that makes me think of, and that makes me think of. Well, what's done that? Something I'm seeing, reading, hearing, whatever it is. It's stimulating ideas. So bring personal stimulus in, and you will see possibilities quickly that you probably could not see any other way. At least that's the case for me. So stimulus, it's good stuff. And in the top 10 countdown, number one is diversity. Any of you that have been listening to Quantum know that this is going to be there. This is really, when you're trying to work with ideas, have discussions with others, friends, bounce ideas off of each other. This is not a formal creative session in that way. It can be a diversity of stimulus too. I really talk about getting ideas from people who know a lot about what your need is, and get ideas from people who know almost nothing about it. And they look at it with fresh ideas and see things that experts would never see. Okay? So search for inputs and everything from people. Have conversations with them. What do you think about this? Have you ever thought about how big a problem this is and what we could do to solve it? Just get into conversations with people, and you're going to get people that see things in different lights, and you're going to go, light bulbs are going to go off for you. Wow, I never thought of that, but you're right. I mean, it's those kinds of conversations that diversity can bring. So, you've now done the top 10 countdown for the top 10 things that you can do to become more personally creative. Well, some final thoughts for you on this. When looking at these top 10, you probably can't do all of the 10 at the same time. So kind of start by assessing your current strengths and weaknesses. Am I really good at using stimulus? I've been using that for a long time. I go out and look at websites and things. Just go out and make that strength better. Because starting by making your strengths stronger is the fastest way to make progress rather than trying to fix weaknesses. So take a look at this, and when you have a personal need, go back and review this top 10 list and kind of pick out 2 or 3 that you really want to focus on to kind of put a turbo booster on your personal creativity for that particular need. Some of these suggestions and ways of being more personally creative better fit some situations. Most work in virtually all, but some can be a little bit more appropriate for some needs. And let your mind kind of tell you which of these, oh yeah, that would really help. When you look at one of these and go, yeah, that would really help. Okay? So take a look at it. Personal creativity is a lot of fun, and at least it is for me. It's just a hoot. It's play. So have some fun with this. Become more personally creative. Become a personal creative guru, superstar, however you want to describe it. These are muscles and skills and abilities that you can develop that will help you for a lifetime and in business and whatever else you do outside of your job. Okay? Yep, that's a big promise, but I have confidence that these can deliver on it. Enjoy. This is Richard Hosnone. Thank you.